Welcome to the first episode of Certified Closers. On this episode, we have my clients Taysa and Charlie based in Hawaii, closing on a $13,000 deal profit virtually in Arkansas. Now, Taysa and Charlie came to me at the beginning of this year looking for a different way to make big profits within real estate. They had tried everything from a rental portfolio to even managing fixer flips, but still weren't financially satisfied. Now, that was until I was able to show them the power of digital real estate through the system I've built. This system isn't for one-hit wonders. This is for consistent results. Charlie and Taysa just closed on a $91,000 deal last week. An absolute monster deal. If you guys want me to interview them on that $91,000 deal, go ahead and leave a like at the bottom of this video and comment aloha for my Hawaiians. This video, you will learn what it takes to become successful in this industry, what it's like to work alongside of a loved one, how to handle the trials and tribulations of running a business together, how they were able to make the transitions to fix and flippers, realtors, and investors to becoming a full-time wholesaler. And last but not least, how they were able to close on a $13,000 deal from an island with a few too many volcanoes. Expect this episode to be explosive, no pun intended.
Wholesaling is always going to be there. We have to get good at it.
If we can build a company where you can consistently assign contracts every single month, it'll be a machine that will continue to provide for us.
Let's hire Roy. Let's hire a professional that does wholesaling, and let's try to build a system.
Successful people just are always bouncing ideas off of each other. If you're around people that are just scrubs, then you're going to do nothing.
I took my son to the title company to sign when he was like 2 days old. I'm pushing him in a stroller, going on walkthroughs. I'm literally like nursing my son as I'm like having a Zoom.
For the new wholesalers, what advice would you have for them?
Trust the process. It works. Roy is the man. He knows what he's talking about. Seriously.
Thank you.
Just trust the process. It will work. It will.
I want to say congratulations again. I went out of my way and I tried to spell congratulations in Hawaiian. I don't know if I got it right.
Oh, what? I'm not sure if I even know that myself.
I tried to look at it and figure it out, but I do want to say congratulations to you guys. I just want to kind of like talk about the journey. Whenever you guys are ready, we can hop right in.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I didn't really do anything on the deal. She made the connection with the actual guys that brought the end buyer from Arkansas. Mm-hmm. And then she built a good relationship with the seller and, was able to get the seller to agree to the terms and the price, and then reach back out to the other group.
Yeah.
That was out there. And then those guys brought the buyer, and then, yeah.
Well, I'm curious, in terms of when you had first started doing virtual, have you seen like a change from when you had first started to now? Is there something that you maybe learned?
I think the only thing that has changed has just kind of been like my mindset, because we tried doing like digital or kind of going virtual before, and it was just a nightmare. Like every person that we tried to partner with would be like, hey, this is what we bring to the table. And then when it came time to actually like show some sort of results, it just didn't go well, because we tried it a few different times working in markets like Louisville, and also in St. Louis, in the St. Louis market, just because we had connections to other investors there, but it just didn't go well.
Yeah.
I think like so far, just going through the program, educating ourselves on the program has just given us a lot more. And just like the way that you search your markets out, I think that's another thing that's been a huge, I guess, like a light bulb. A light bulb that's kind of went on. I guess the big thing is that the process of going about getting it done, and then how you do it to get it done has been a big help for us.
Whenever you were trying to do it in the beginning, what were some things that you were struggling with the most?
Okay.
I tried to do it in Louisville.
Okay, north. Bye.
I think the one thing, like for me, that's really kind of become clear is just having the conversations with the sellers. Like, because like I said, I said it before, I'm a very straightforward person, and it's just kind of like, hey, my attitude when I'm talking to these sellers is like, hey, well, if you're not interested, then I gotta go. Which I still feel like is there, I can be that way, but then just listening more and then asking better qualifying questions to be able to touch more on the emotional side of why they need to, move and sell the property.
Absolutely. How would you guys approach, I guess, sellers before the sales process? Like going from whenever I was like, hey, we need to go all in on motivation and rapport, condition, time, price, and like that exact structure. What were you guys kind of doing before?
I mean, because we've closed several deals before, right?
Yeah.
But like just staying in this cold calling like system blueprint,
Yeah.
kind of organized things for me, I think, like, because everything's like all spaghetti noodled.
Yeah.
And then, some light bulbs went on when you were just like, hey, just focus on this.
Mhm.
And then Charlie will focus on this. And then that kind of took a lot of relief off of my shoulders.
Yeah.
Because before, like Charlie and I, we both do almost like everything,
Yeah.
and that's not good. Like we were both doing like CRM, lead management, acquisitions, dispositions, like, like title transaction, like a little bit of everything. And I think doing it this way kind of just helped us like get a little bit more clarity. Because like I said, it was like all spaghetti noodled. But now in my mind, when I'm cold calling, I'm like, hey, just relax.
Yeah.
All you're doing is just getting motivation.
Yeah.
Don't worry too much about condition. If there is motivation there, then they're a lead. Just get them in there, and
Mhm.
then Charlie will work on the condition. Because before Charlie was like, dude, I don't even know if it's a 2 bedroom, 3 bathroom or whatever, like
Yeah.
where's all the notes? And I'm just kind of
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, it was kind of hard for me to do both. And then when I switched to try to just get all conditioned, the conversation didn't go well. They're like, okay, all you care about is my house. Like I'm just asking questions.
Yeah.
And so it just made it a little bit more clear, like when you said, hey, don't worry about condition. Well, on your first call, you're not going to make your offer on the first call.
Yeah.
So I literally was trying to like close them on the first call or like just get the motivation and be like, hey, do you want to sell it or not?
Yeah.
But really, that's not how it goes. We just want to cut to the chase. And in my mind, I'm like, how long is this going to take
Yeah.
to get from A to like the check being cashed?
Yeah.
But I got to just throw that out of my mind and just stick to the process and trust it, you know, pull the list, make the cold calls, believe that you're going to close this call
Yeah.
today,
Yeah.
believe that the next person that answers is going to be a seller. And then just build rapport. These are people, they're gonna sell. And then the next step is then we find out information about it. And
Yeah.
once we find out the information and the condition and it's not a deal, then no worries. You get back to the beginning, make the call, build rapport, get the condition, find out it is a deal,
Mhm.
find the buyer, take it to title, and then close. So
Yeah.
just that,
And before the last, I guess, few months, you guys have been doing wholesaling for how long?
like 6 years.
6 years. And like I said, we only got started around December, and we're only doing Zoom calls. We're only doing maybe 1 to 2 hour Zoom calls at a time. But I'm not behind the scenes with you guys. You guys
Mhm.
are a whole power couple in itself. I want to know, what was the journey from whenever you guys started wholesale all the way up into now, like a not too long of a journey, because that's 6 years, right? But all the way from when you guys first started all the way up until now, what do you guys feel like? What was like the rocky situations at the beginning? What was going on behind the scenes? And how did you guys kind of overcome those struggles?
Life has happened in the last 7 years for us. We've had 2 kids. One of our parents have died of each of us, and we have moved 3 times,
Mhm.
and we've gotten partners and try to rebuild a business 3 times. This is our third time trying to like rebuild a wholesaling business.
Yeah.
We've really had to like find an identity for ourselves as investors.
Yeah.
And now we've just kind of realized like wholesaling is always going to be there,
Yeah.
and we have to get good at it. No matter all the things that we hate about it, it will be there and it will provide for us.
Yeah.
So, at any given time, we knew that like, hey, we can just go to wholesaling
Mhm.
and then close the deal to put some food on the table, you
Yeah.
know?
I think one thing that I've said this to like a couple different people before, like anything you can think of in real estate investing, we've done.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We started flipping, and then when we were flipping, we're like, hey, we should really learn how to assign contracts. And then we kind of went back and then we tried to learn that. And
Yeah.
then not long after that, as we were trying to do that, then we bought some rentals. And then not long after that, we bought some more rentals. And then we were like, let's not do wholesaling,
Yeah.
or let's not assign contracts. And then along the way, the reason why we've kind of taken these like kind of twists and turns is because we've had people that in a way were mentors to us that were like, hey, come and do this.
Yeah.
In that though, like you learn there are certain things you like and there are certain things you don't like. And like my wife mentioned at the end there, at least for us, if we can effectively like build a company where you can, you know, consistently assign contracts every single month, it'll always be something that will, you know, it'll be a machine that will continue to provide for us.
Right before we hooked up with you to just be like, you know what, cut this BS.
Mm,
Let's just buckle down with wholesaling and let's get a system
mm,
that we can kind of plug people in that
mm.
will consistently get us 2 deals a month.
Yeah.
You know, like if we can just do that and make, you know, our goal is pretty ambitious, like, and you cleared it up for us.
Yeah.
You said like, hey, if you want that, then this is what your life's going to look like. And we're like, okay, no, we definitely don't want that.
Mm,
Maybe something like 30 to 50K, you
mm,
know, a month. Okay, that's totally doable
mm,
and totally like where we can be out of it and have people operate and monitor it, right?
mm.
So I feel like that's kind of where we are because the whole time we were closing wholesale deals and doing all this crazy stuff, it's been crazy. And so for us to actually take a step back and just be like, okay, let's just focus on wholesaling right now.
Mm.
And let's hire Roy. Let's hire a professional that does wholesaling and let's try to build a system.
Yeah.
There's two things that happened when we got you as a mentor was we're now getting like a lot more focused in learning like the system, the blueprint of the wholesaling business
Mm,
that we need to get inputted, like plugged in.
mm.
And then the second thing was you helped us just realize like we can't be successful at all of this. We literally have to pick and choose and focus on what we are going to do in real estate.
Yeah.
And to me, I think that that was like the more valuable thing for me is just you helping the both of us, like facilitating that to realize like, dude, you can't do probates and foreclosures and Zillow and Facebook Marketplace and like all this stuff. Like, I mean, you could, but it's not going to go well. Like, why don't you guys just focus on this, the
Mm.
system that we've been doing that worked and try to get it to like repeat itself. And
Yeah.
then maybe you can spend your time on foreclosures.
I want to know, like, I guess over the past 6 years for both of you guys, what's been the biggest takeaway? Like one big takeaway across your whole entrepreneur journey that you've learned. It could be a mindset shift. It could be a maybe a principle. Anything that you would want to share.
Just being around the right people, just finding like a tribe of people that really, and they don't even need to necessarily be investors. You know, they're just like people that are just like, hey man, we want to get in shape. And we also own a tech company, or we also own a concrete company, or we also own this stuff. You know, like for me, that's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Like I get the chance to go and be around other people. And another thing that I've learned is that successful people, they just seek out hard things. So like when I go to train jiu-jitsu, all of the guys that all the men and women that are in there, they're there because they want to really stretch themselves and unplug their mind from whatever it is that they do day to day for work.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's been a cool thing for me because all of them are successful at what they do, but they're also in the same room that I am. Because successful people just are always bouncing ideas off of each other. If you're around people that are just scrubs, then I mean you're gonna do nothing.
Wow. Yeah. That was a gem.
For me, what I've learned in this whole journey, quitting my job and
Mm.
becoming a full-time investor and entrepreneur is if there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
We haven't been afraid of trying new things,
Yeah.
you know, and I don't know if that's a good thing or it could be a bad thing, but like something new would present itself in front of us. And we just had to find a way to make it happen. You know, we had to come out of our comfort zone to randomly call an investor that was really good in this strategy, ask them questions, or we had to go out of our way to do due diligence, or we had to go out of our way to like put the money down to get this done, or we had to drive out somewhere like hours to get the job done. Like, so if there's a will, there's a way. And we've seen that happen in our life the last 7 years with real estate,
Yeah.
is that we've just rolled up our sleeves and just got to work.
Mhm.
or we've like said a whole bunch of cuss words to figure out like something on a computer because like Charlie really hates computer stuff.
Mhm.
And there's still things that we really need to do to get the job done. And we're trying to get ourselves in the right mindset and mentality to be like, hey, you are good with computers.
Yeah.
Hey, it is going to be okay. This house is going to sell.
Yeah.
Hey, a buyer is going to come and buy this house. You are going to close this wholesale deal in Jonesboro, and you are going to find a JV partner that's going to partner with you and close.
As we've been working together, I've learned a lot from you guys just before we even started working together. Like you guys were my mentors. I'm getting into this as well. One of the things that I've always admired was how you guys are able to do it together. What advice would you guys have for other couples that maybe want to do the same thing? Because I wish to have like my partner also work with them as well, but I know it's probably not always like as like bright on the other side, right? So I want to know, what advice would you guys have for couples trying to build a business together?
Oh, yikes, because we argue legit like every week. Here's the thing, man. We're straight shooters. We're very transparent. We're
Yep.
not like, and I feel like in the day and age we live, people only share all the happy stuff.
Yeah.
Like we do everything and we put forth a lot of extra effort when we do it. Like, you know, in the way that we raise our children, in the way that we worship God, in the way that we work. We just go hard.
Yeah.
And I think the one thing that I've had to learn, and my wife has always reminded me about this, and I'm not saying that I figured it out, is to enjoy your wins. Like for me, I'm just like a person that's like, no, we got to keep working, we got to go to the next deal. And I think you reminded us about that like a little while ago. Like, hey, you got to like enjoy it, because if you don't enjoy it, then I mean, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
But like my advice, and again, this is something that I'm still trying to work on, is you need to establish what your roles are
Yeah.
and then just move forward. Like my wife was saying earlier, like in our business, like we've done everything. And that's why everything's still so spaghetti noodle. So for me, I'm just like, the last meeting that we had, you were like, hey, you got to learn the dispo. You
Yeah.
need to learn how to dispo. And so what have I been doing? I've been going through the videos
Yeah.
so that I can learn how to dispo, because that's my role. I need to be able to fulfill that role in this company. So I think that going forward, you know, we're going to have success, or the level of success that we have is going to be dependent on how well we do our roles. So
Yeah.
if we can't dispo, it's because I didn't effectively go through the trainings and apply what I learned. Same thing with, getting in those follow-up calls and talking to sellers. I need to be able to touch on the emotion of why they're selling, and not so much like, hey, what's up? You gonna sell? If you ain't
Yeah.
gonna sell, get out the way.
Yeah.
Because that's the way that I am. Yeah, I think I'm getting better at it, and I hope I
Yeah.
am. Shoot.
Just a little, just a little.
No, but my wife can share whatever she's learned. But that's something that's been clear to me. Like, hey, you better get good at your role. Because if y'all suck, it's because you didn't get good at your role.
Yeah.
Because it's a team sport. But I think Charlie just talked about the business side.
Mhm.
But like what I am learning is one thing that could help you. So remember this, Roy.
Okay.
I think that you should definitely schedule and block your time. You know?
Mm.
So when you're working business,
Mm.
you have to. And like I'm starting to realize that with our schedule, when we're with the kids and
Mm.
we're having family meeting or we're having soccer time, right? We're taking the kids to soccer. Like Charlie and I are talking about real estate all the damn time. Before I'd be like with it, like
Yeah.
10 million times a day, we're talking real estate, no matter what we're doing. We're eating, we're jogging, we're working out, we're taking the kids to the zoo. We're like talking real estate all the damn mother freaking time.
Yeah.
Well, now I just realized like to have a happy marriage and have a sane like relationship, we're
Mm.
human,
Yeah.
and you need to have differentiation. Like you need to separate it. You
Yeah.
really do. Because that was a time in our life where we were like, okay, we want to do real estate because it's going to bless our family, it's going to buy us freedom. And so our kids knew that our whole family was all about it.
Yeah.
Like 24/7 is real estate. Like I had given birth, I took my son to the title company to sign when he was
Wow.
like 2 days old. I'm pushing him in a stroller going on walkthroughs.
Yeah.
I'm literally like nursing my son as I'm like having a Zoom,
That's
meeting. And
crazy.
it was pretty crazy. I don't know if I knew how crazy I was being, but then now I'm just kind of like, okay, we need to have family time. We need to have our husband and wife time or couple times. So that's my advice.
I love that. I love that. And I'm making sure that I come back to this video and I watch it over and over again to make sure I get it down. I want to know, this is our first, I guess, virtual deal. This is going to be in Jonesboro, Arkansas. Give
Mhm.
me a breakdown on the deal from when you pulled the list all the way till closing. I know there was a few hiccups. I know there was a time where you weren't sure how to talk to the seller and you gave me a call real quick. I just want to know the whole journey throughout the whole deal.
So we talked to you in December and we were like, okay, we got to get this system down. So we're in desperate need of a sale.
Yeah,
I'm not going to try to front, but like right now, yeah, we need to make a sale.
yeah,
So the fact that we finally closed that deal was huge for our family.
yeah,
So we go through the process, and this is like weeks. It's like 7 weeks that we're calling and calling. We're trying different lists, trying different markets, learning that whole process of building up your back office. And I'm in Hawaii doing all of that, waking up at 3 in the morning, trying to do that. And then I move back to Texas. Now I'm cold calling from Texas.
mhm,
And like the holidays have just passed. And
mhm,
I'm like, dude, we really need to make a sale.
mhm.
And January's here. So we start listening to your mental training videos. All our role plays are helping me figure out like why my cold calling is terrible and sucking. So I make the adjustments and I forget about the house and I just talk to the seller. This old man answers the phone and he's has his guard up and I just try to peel away the layers and he just starts talking to me. We talk for an hour and a half about him, working in a factory, about his whole life story. He's like 70 something. He's a very interesting man. And then he softens up and he's like, well, yeah, I might consider selling. And so we talk about like the condition of it a little bit. Okay, well, we're going to follow up with you and we're going to run the numbers and we're going to make you an offer. He's like, okay, that sounds great. After that, Charlie, I believe you try to call him, but he doesn't answer. And then,
I think I called him 3 times.
yeah.
He never answered.
And so
I
he was,
called him day one. I called him day two. I called him. He didn't answer. Day three, I called him. He didn't answer.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
was like,
I was just like,
Mm,
I got to call him back. And so I call him and he answers.
mm,
And he's like, hey, Daisy, because he knew it was my number. And
yeah,
so I was like, hey, Mike, how's it going? And so we start talking. And like you said, like forget about the house, like ask him about, so I asked him about his back because his back was hurting,
yeah, yeah,
And like that's really what like the mindset shift that we need to have is just like, dude, these are people, make small talk, like really, you have to understand like you're not going to change the world and you're not going to solve all their problems, but you can show them that you care, you
yeah,
know? So I was just like, hey, I really do care about you. Like that's what I was portraying, like, how's your back? Like because he said he threw out his back. And so we small talked again. And then he was like, yeah, still was like, I gotta get at least 250 from it. So we start talking and I'm like, then I go back and I run the numbers with
mm,
a boots on the ground there.
mm,
And he's like, yeah, you know what? We could do it at 200. I think we can. We can do it at 200. So
mm,
if you can get him at like 195, anything below 200, that's going to help.
yeah,
Then I call you and then you coach me up on like, okay, this is how you're going to do it.
yeah,
And the whole negotiations with the numbers, right? Start at 190, try to close in there, get that done. And like that was like a very big light bulb for me, that coaching call that you had with me. It really was. So then we go through that call and we're just going back and forth. I'm at 195
mm,
and he was down to 200. And then he's like, oh, okay, 197, 500, and let's call it a day. We'll sign now. And he said it for me. And I was just like, okay, let's do it.
yeah,
197, 500. Because I knew at that point there was something was to be made, even
yeah,
if it was 3,500, right? So then boom, I get the paperwork done and him and his wife are on the deed, but the wife's not agreeing. And he's like, hey, I built such good rapport with him that he was like, don't worry, just take her name off of it. I'll just sign the contract and let's move forward. And he's like, hey, I'm selling you this house. I've
Yeah.
come to peace with it and I'm happy. Although I have a lot of sentimental things and I put a lot of money into this, over $100,000, but I'm ready to walk away. So I was like, when he said that, I was like, okay, great, 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 great. And that's what they say, like if you build good rapport, they're going to sell. They ain't going to go to anybody else.
For the new wholesalers that are trying to close their first deal or maybe just learn the strategy, what advice would you have for them?
Trust the process. It works.
Trust the
Roy
process.
is the man. He knows what he's talking about. Seriously.
Thank you.
Just trust the process. It will work. It will. You literally have to believe and you literally have to just put in the consistent reps.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Charlie, you got anything that you would give to
Just
Charlie just starting out?
I think like I mentioned earlier, it's a team concept.
Yeah.
So being part of this mentorship, you're part of a team,
Yeah.
so anyone in here can help you.
Yeah.
Anyone in here can help you. So yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate it. I'm so happy for you guys. I don't know if this is
Yes. Oh my kai ana.
I don't know if this is right, but I tried.
Yes, thank you. I love it. Oh my kai ana. Congratulations.
What is it? For the city I gave you guys, Baytown. I have an investor. He just got a show on HGTV, right? So he's only doing it for his TV show. He cares about profit, but he doesn't really care about profit. He just needs deals. So if you guys come across anything in Baytown, let me know.
Okay. I'm pulling the list right now. Like when you texted that last night, I'm like, perfect.
Yeah.
So I have it right here. My 10 o'clock appointment with Roy, full Baytown, Texas.
Please pull the Baytown list and let me know if you need any help with the filters, all right?
Okay. Okay.
I appreciate you guys so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.